All right. We're here this afternoon to report that an Erie County grand jury has returned an indictment against Derrick Harris, a 35-year-old Buffalo man. I'm here this afternoon with Ashley Morgan from our office. Ashley is the newly minted, as of today, homicide bureau chief for our office. At the time of this incident, Ashley was the bureau chief for the Major Crimes Bureau in our office, and she's been handling this matter. So this indictment includes 6 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor charge for incidents involving Mr. Harris that occurred on May 23rd, 2026 on Broadway Avenue in the city of Buffalo. Mr. Harris was arraigned this afternoon on the indictment by Erie County Court Judge Ken Case. The charges include 1 count of robbery in the first degree, an attempted assault in the first degree, an attempted assault in the second degree, 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, and then some charges related to stolen property. I'll report that Mr. Harris has been remanded by Judge Case, and he is going to have a return date in front of a different judge, most likely, but we don't have that date or the judge at this time. Now, I noted that this is an indictment, but these are charges only, they're allegations only, and Mr. Harris is presumed innocent until and unless he is later proven guilty. But you can note from the indictment that this case involves 2 separate incidents. They both occurred on May 23rd, 2026, near Broadway. The first one occurred at about 1:30 in the morning, a few blocks from the Broadway area, actually. Mr. Harris had gotten a ride from a Lyft driver, and then before he got out of the vehicle, he put a knife to the driver's throat and demanded that the driver give him all his property. The Lyft driver gave the defendant his cell phone, he gave the defendant his bracelet, and he gave the defendant his wallet. The driver then went to the Buffalo Police Department and reported this crime. Again, that was 1:30 in the morning on May 23rd. The second incident happened about 15 hours later at about 4:30 in the afternoon, also on May 23rd on Broadway in Liddell. Buffalo police officers were on patrol when they were flagged down by a civilian who reported that the defendant had stabbed her boyfriend the day before, and she directed the officers towards the defendant. The officers approached the defendant, and they noted at the time that he had a razor in one hand and a scissors in the other. They told him to drop the weapons, but he refused to do so. The defendant tried to cut one of the police officers, Officer Simonian, tried to cut him in the neck with the scissors, and then he stabbed Officer Simonian in the back with the razor. The other officer, Officer Slupinski, then used his taser to try to subdue the defendant, but it was not effective. The defendant did not drop the weapons. He did not drop the razor or the knife or the scissors, I should say. The defendant started cutting himself at that point. He was trying to cut himself with both the razor and the scissors, and the officers struggled with him to try to get those weapons away from him. They were finally able to get the scissors away from him as the defendant continued to struggle with them. He got up and was able to run across the street, where he continued to try to stab himself with the razor. The officers pursued him, and then Officer Simonian drew his firearm. The defendant reached towards the officer's gun, and at that point, Officer Simonian discharged his weapon 2 times in the area of the defendant's waistline. The defendant fell to the ground, but even as he was falling to the ground, he continued to try to cut himself with the razor. The officer tried to kick the razor out of the defendant's hand, and then finally, as they struggled with the defendant, they were able to pry the razor out of his hand. The defendant was immediately treated at the scene by the Buffalo police officers, and then he was transported to Erie County Medical Center, where he remains today and where he was arraigned this afternoon. Officer Simonian was also taken to Erie County Medical Center and treated for the stab wound that he suffered that day. He was released later that day. During the struggle, the contents of the wallet from the Lyft driver ended up scattered on the ground, and those items have been recovered in our evidence in this case. The investigation regarding the initial assault, that the officers were flagged down by the young woman, that investigation continues, and I have nothing further to report on that at this time. Now, I know I said this already, but it is important that I note that this defendant is presumed innocent unless and until he is later proven guilty. But as I noted, the grand jury has completed this investigation and has returned this 7-count indictment. In addition, our office has determined that the officer's use of force was justified in accordance with New York State law. A police officer may use deadly physical force when it is necessary to defend himself from what he reasonably believes to be the use or imminent use of deadly physical force. These police officers, as I noted, were flagged down regarding an allegation of a stabbing, and when they approached the defendant, he refused to put down a scissors and a razor. The officer only used deadly physical force after the defendant tried to cut himself in the neck with the scissors. The defendant then stabbed the officer with the razor. The other police officer used his taser, which again was unsuccessful in getting the defendant to drop the weapons. The defendant started to cut his own neck with the razor and the scissors again, and continued to do so as he ran from the police officers. And then finally, when the defendant reached for the officer's gun, the officer discharged his firearm. It's our determination that that officer's use of force was justified in accordance with New York State law. The defendant, as I noted, has been remanded. If he's convicted of the most serious charge in this indictment, he can face up to 25 years in prison. That concludes my summary of the incident and today's events at the arraignment. Happy to take any questions.
Does he have any prior charges, Harris?
So as I note many times, one of the things I can't talk about in accordance with the New York Rules of Professional Conduct is I can't talk about a defendant's criminal history.
The officer that was stabbed, it's just one time? I believe earlier, initially, the police report, he was stabbed twice in the torso.
Yeah, one time.
It's just once? Okay.
Yes.
Will any sort of mental health screening be conducted?
Well, that's going to be up to the court. I don't know if one was ordered today. Was it 7:30?
Not today.
No, it has not been ordered. But the court could order that in accordance with either party's request, but hasn't been done so yet. The judge today was at the hospital for arraignment. This case will almost certainly be assigned to a different judge, and that could be addressed at that time.
Is there anything you can share about Harris's injuries in the hospital still?
He's been in the hospital. I know that he had some surgery, more than one, and I know that he was stable and alert and able to appear for the arraignment this afternoon.
He was in a condition to be arraigned last week too, right, on city charges?
Well, I don't know exactly what kind of condition he was at, Aaron, because quite frankly, we weren't there. We were not notified. And, well, I'm sorry. We had a city court assistant notify us. Ashley, who's been handling the case for us, was not notified. We've got some different sort of explanations as to what his condition was at the time, but he was arraigned on the robbery charge at the time, because the robbery charge of the Lyft driver was initially filed by the police department as we continued our investigation into the entire situation. Anyone else?
Just clarifying that the original situation in which the woman flagged down the officers, that stabbing is still under investigation. It's not the Uber stabbing. It's completely separate.
Correct. Yeah. The Uber driver was not stabbed. The knife was placed to his throat, but he was not injured. The reason that the police officers were stopped, flagged down, that allegation is still under investigation.
I'm assuming he's being represented by either legal aid or public defenders? Or?
He has an attorney. I don't know whether it's legal aid or a public defender.
You said the 25 years. Was that for all of the events that happened that day, or is that just one individual, the event with the police officer?
That would be the highest. That's the potential sentencing on the highest count, which would be the attempted assault first, or the robbery. They're the same level. They're two different incidents. Technically, he could receive consecutive time for those incidents, which could, make it even more than 25 years. But that's for down the road, and that would be a decision made by the judge.
What is the definition of a C felony?
Well, there's, in New York State, the lowest level felony is an E, then a D, and accordingly down to an A felony. The attempted assault in the first degree, I think is the one you're referring to.
Correct.
That is an attempt, or that's an attempt to seriously injure the police officer using a weapon. And it's a B felony if the police officer had sustained serious injury. But because of the level of injury, it's only a C felony, and it's an attempt at the intent to suffer, the attempt to cause serious physical injury.
Can we switch gears for a second?
Sure.
Mr. Mohammed from last week, has there been a grand jury date set for that?
I'll be making an announcement on that in the near future. Anything else?
Could you maybe reiterate what you were saying about self-defense for the officer, like the ruling and why that was that, you know, it was that way?
Sure. The law in New York is that a police officer may use deadly physical force when it is necessary to defend himself or another from what he reasonably believes to be the use or the imminent use of deadly physical force. And I think the circumstances, you know, here speak pretty clearly. This man had a knife and a razor and a scissors in his hand, and was trying to hurt not only the police officer but himself. Thank you.